Ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, welcome to a brand new end of the month subscriber Q&A, and of course beloved chat room and subscribers, welcome. For those who've never seen one of these videos before, at the end of the month on Twitch I hold a, I have a little party, you know. I do an end of the month subscriber Q&A to thank those who went above and beyond by subscribing, little one-on-one time. That doesn't mean that you have to subscribe to me in order to ask me questions. You can always ask me questions during the stream. You can always send me tweets. You can always leave comments. You can always send a personal message on Facebook. That's probably the best location. And on Facebook, I'll get back to you whenever I got the opportunity. Keep in mind, if you're watching this video and you don't want any spoilers, I have no limitations to the questions asked. I might not answer all the questions, mainly personal ones, like where do you live and stuff like that. But spoiler questions for 6.2 and beyond, that's entirely up to the chat room what they want to ask me. So if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to turn this one off, and I'll see you next time. Right, chat room, what you got for me? Hi everybody. It's very hot today, so we're gonna keep it nice and cool if we can. Welcome, welcome. What do you think will happen to the Forsaken if Sylvanas goes the path of Arthas? Anarchy. I speculated about this in my Story of Sylvanas video. And it's very hard to decide what Blizzard might do with her character. Because on the one hand, the Forsaken and Sylvanas, they do some pretty freaky stuff. People are promising that they're gonna take care of her, but nobody does a thing. On the other hand, Sylvanas is a big support. You can't just take out a whole faction with the Forsaken, they still need a place to live. So it's very hard to decide how that's gonna go. One way that I speculated about is that the whole there must always be a Lich King, which doesn't make a lot of sense. They could go with the reasoning that it wasn't actually King Tyrannus who said that, it was actually Ner'zhul. And Ner'zhul was trying to manipulate events in such a way that not only Arthas would be taken out, like Arthas refused to follow his orders, so he needed a new puppet. He got Bolvar's new puppet, and on top of that he got Sylvanas with the Valkyr working on getting new troops. So say that that's the story that they're gonna go with, that's the explanation they're gonna give, which makes sense in my mind. Then you could create a situation in which Sylvanas is the one tricked. Not entirely redeemed, of course, because they still did some creepy shit. But at least we get an opportunity to liberate her. Of course, someone like Sylvanas is not gonna be happy by being played like that, so she's gonna be freaking pissed. There's gonna be a whole expansion with Kel'Thuzad, with Ner'zhul. There's going to be undead forces again. There's a whole thing going on there. So Sylvanas is not going to be the damsel in distress. She's going to be one of the first who's going to be rescued. She has inside information, and she's going to punish the ones who try to betray her again, who try to manipulate her like that. That could be a great way to push Sylvanas back on the path of not so much righteousness, because come on, it's still freaking Sylvanas, but at least it will give a reason as to why she's resurrecting so much right now. Say that they don't go with that, and she remains on the path as they are right now, then I don't see any option. Then eventually she has to become a Garrosh and she has to be taken care of. I wouldn't like to see that storyline happen, but you know, that's where we're heading. And I know a lot of people are fans of Sylvanas. They're gonna be like, my queen does nothing wrong. She's resurrecting herself now, and of course they've added a little line of giving the choice, but she's still ripping people from the afterlife. She's still doing exactly what Arthas did to her, and why she wanted revenge in the first place. So there's that. Let's see. Just gonna scroll up a little bit. When the Demon Soul was built, where was Nosdormu and didn't he construct it? The original one, I don't know. It's very possible that Nosdormu was there during the original one. But the later one, the one that's now part of our official timeline, is described in the novel War of the Ancients, which is like a trilogy. And in that book, Nosdormu got stuck in time. And he was trying to keep the old gods at bay or together, or he was trying to keep the world from being destroyed. And he sent people like Ronan and Broxigar and Krezus. He sent them back in time to take care of business. Now, as he was trying to prevent the old gods from destroying the planets, he couldn't actually physically show up to create the Demon Soul. So instead what he did, he sent his consorts, something Dormi, I think, with the essence, and that's how they empowered it. So, where was he? He was busy trying to keep the world from being destroyed. What did he miss? So Karimi, it's the end of the month Q&A, matey. Are there any other MMOs you've been interested in trying but never got around to it? No. In the past, as most of us probably have, I've dabbled in other MMOs. MMORPGs even. Like MMOs is just multiplayer online, so that's pretty much any online game. There are plenty of those that I still need to try. But if we're talking about RPGs and whatnot, WoW kind of game, I've tried Rift, I've tried the one with the DC heroes, where like everybody became a superhero. That was freaking awesome. I love that concept so much. Everybody can become a Superman and a Batman and stuff like that. It was so cool. It just, the game sucked. The game that I still want to try, that's one that Ghosty's playing right now. I think it's Star Wars The Old Republic. At least the Star Wars MMO that went free to play. I've been told that the storyline of that one is pretty damn great, and I would love to try it. It's just a matter of finding time to play it. I just don't have the time and the will to really invest in another MMORPG right now. But maybe one day, sure. Why Malygos flipped while being a blue dragon aspect. This also goes back to the War of the Ancients visa. Malygos and Deathwing, they were like buddies, right? They were like high school buddies. They were always friends together. But as you might know, Deathwing betrayed the other aspects as they created the Demon Soul. And he was like, I got the power now. Screw you guys, I'm gonna kill everyone. So he struck out at the Legion, which was the original plan. It was a weapon to be used against the Legion. He struck out against those, but he also struck out against the Night Elves. He also struck out against the other Dragonflights, because he wanted power. The old gods whispered to him that he should be the one in charge. So eventually his friend Malygos tried to stop him, and in retaliation, Deathwing nearly destroyed his entire blue Dragonflight. Nearly all of them. And this caused Malygos to become mad. Sadly. So, Deathwing did it. How many times do I fap? We already did one, Jacob. We got that one on... we got that one on the highlights. But I like how you're going for the Riseborn achievement, man. I love you for it. Sylvanas, Wrathion, Kel'Thuzad team up. What would you think about it? The only one I would wonder why is Kel'Thuzad, because Sylvanas and Kel'Thuzad, they're pretty much opposite, right? Kel'Thuzad was, you know, insanely devoted to the Lich King, whereas Sylvanas hated the Lich King, so you gotta wonder why those two forces would work together. It's not impossible, of course, you could create a storyline behind that. Wrathion, his motivation is to keep the planet safe, so if that's with Sylvanas and Kel'Thuzad, he would sign up with them. Could be pretty cool. I watched your video about Medivh, but I really didn't understand, not because of your English, if Sargeras died, or if they only killed his body, and if that's the case, why isn't he leading the Legion then? I think it's Attic that asked that question. It's in blue, it's very hard to see. We're uncertain what happened to Sargeras after those events. My idea behind it is that Sargeras was sent to the Twisted Nether. You know, if we have an Archimond that can't be killed in our reality, then most likely we have a Kil'jaeden that can't be killed in our reality. And if those two guys can't be killed, then surely the same rule applies to Sargeras, but we don't know for sure. So my speculation would be is that he's sent back to the Twisted Nether and he's recovering there, or he's chilling there. Or maybe we actually did kill him. Who knows? Maybe we did, and Kil'jaeden is now trying to take over. A hint to Kil'jaeden trying to take over was from the Sunwell, where he said like, I will succeed where Sargeras failed, which seems like he was going to go for the title. But it's up for grabs, man. It's speculation. We don't really know what happened to Sargeras, as far as I know. Phew. I am pretty sure that the new undead are actually under the Lich King's control, and he's just letting them on the long leash, so they have pretty free will. Could be, for sure. What's the story of Yrel? Yrel, a Draenei created specifically for the expansion Warlords of Draenor, so a Draenei on alternate reality. She did not exist as far as we know in our reality. Yrel was like an acolyte of the temple. She preferred to heal people than actually go into battle, and she has a dark secret. What is the dark secret? We have no idea. That's probably one of those storylines that never really made it into the game anymore. She has the dark secret, we just don't know what it is. And Yrel unwillingly was thrown into battle. You know, the Iron Horde, specifically Ner'zhul, captured her sister, Tamara, and sacrificed her, and Ner'zhul tried to summon the Dark Star, and then Valen sacrificed himself, and he gave like Yrel this symbol on her head. Nobody knows what the symbol means. It probably just looked cool, and they were like, oh, that looks cool, we're gonna do it. And after that, Yrel teamed up with Marat, and they took on the Iron Horde. Marat died, Yrel went further, she became an Exarch, which is like, in the past, the Exarchs were like the hand of the prophets. Only Velen ruled over them, and they ruled over the rest of the Draenei. So Yrel became an Exarch thanks to heroes who helped her out. She went for those trials. And now, I believe she's gonna help us during the Hellfire Citadel raid. She's gonna be part of that end cinematic. And who knows what the future might bring. Unfortunately, like I said, you know, there was the Dark Secret, there was the symbol, there were data mined conversations between her and Marat, which suggested that Marat invited her to come back to Azeroth with us. That never happened, but that's the story of Yrel. What do you think about Thrall? I mean, I'm Horde and don't like how powerful he is. If you could kill him off, how would you do it? Funny enough, Tillymint, I actually asked this question on Twitter. And I created a poll out of it, like, would you mind if Blizzard killed off Thrall? And it was pretty much 50-50, which I didn't expect. I thought that most people were done with Thrall by now, but a lot of people still like the dude. And I think that he's a symbol of the Horde. What I would have done with Thrall was, during Mr. Pandaria, I would have kept him out of the storyline because he was so prominent during the Cataclysm. But Blizzard decided to put him in anyways to fix his mistakes of the past. Fine, whatever, let him do it. Then at the end of Mr. Pandaria, I would have let him get the killing blow. They gave him the killing blow anyways. Why turn Garrosh into a plot device to get into Draenor? So I would have allowed him to get the killing blow in that instance. And then just let him retire, you know, go back to his kids and his wife and let him do his thing and be this wise, ancient dude that has done his part in the storyline. But instead, Blizzard decided, you know what? They haven't had enough of Thrall just yet. We're gonna give him the Doomhammer back. He's gonna put his armor on again. He's gonna go to Draenor. And now he got his parents back, which completely nullifies his storyline. He got another kid on the way, which is fine, you know, we saw that vision during the Cataclysm. But how would I kill him off? It has to have meaning, you know. It would have been great if he could have sacrificed himself during the Archimonde fight together with Grommash. It would have been awesome, you know. Archimonde is no pushover. And to have these two legendary orcs sacrifice themselves together, that could have been great. But that didn't happen. I doubt that it's gonna happen against Gul'dan. So it needs to have meaning, and he needs to sacrifice himself for the greater good of the world, for his family, you know. I think that would be a good situation. So when his kids are grown up, they're gonna look up to Daddy, and Daddy's gonna be like, for you, my son, I'm gonna go and jump into the fire. And then his wife is gonna stand at the side and be like, get out of the fire, get out of the fire, get out of the fire, you died. And then they're gonna cry. The end. Do you think we'll see Wrathion again? At the end of the old legendary, he said we would soon. What's up with that? Wrathion's been mentioned during the Admiral Taylor's garrison. There's a log you can find there, and you find out that Wrathion actually showed up, and he was captured by Taylor and his men, and then he liberated himself when all things went to hell and the garrison was turned into a undead. Another storyline that they never really dived in deeper. So where is he now? No idea. We already knew that he was not going to be a prominent role during Warlords of Draenor, which I kind of like. You know, I like Wrathion, but let him play his part. And yeah, where is he now? Who knows? He might show up at the end of the expansion. Like, you know, his little dragon head across the portal. Like, you guys! You guys! Shit's going down on Azeroth. You gotta come home! And then we come home and we find out that the Legion is there. That the Naga are there. And there's Wrathion. Like, welcome home, guys! He's got like a banner. Got cookies. He's got like a new legendary item for us. It'll be fantastic. But we don't know. And to your question, like, they said that we were gonna see him soon. Don't forget that he also showed up in Warcraft, huh? So, yeah. Do you think Blizzard will add a third faction? Don't know. I don't work for Blizzard. I wish I could tell you what they are or not gonna do. I for one am for it. I would love to see a neutral faction, sure. How Arthas becomes the Death Knight. He never died or anything. I think he died. It's never really specifically described. But if you remember the events of Warcraft 3, where he picks up Frostmourne, that's already took a piece of his soul. And then he spent like months roaming the lands of Northrend, or at least a long time, in the cold snow, listening to the whispers of Ner'zhul. And I think in that period of time, he transformed from the living into the undead. I think that's where he died and became a Death Knight. When do you think... Oh, Wormy Master says that's nearly impossible. Where should they put the leveling stuff, the dungeon and raid quest, the PvP content? Well, if you add a third faction that you make neutral, then they have a choice. Like, do I want to work for the Alliance in this zone? Do I want to work for the Horde in this zone? And then they have their own starting area, of course, the neutral starting area. They can pretty much pick and choose for which faction they want to fight. Same for PvP. Like, if you queue up, you can pick if you want to be a mercenary for the Horde, you can be a mercenary for the Alliance. Horde and Alliance members, they can actually create quests for you and turn you into mother freaking bounty hunters. So fucking cool. Imagine, right? This is something they also had in other games like Star Wars Galaxies. I draw a lot of inspiration for Star Wars Galaxies. But you could actually put a bounty on people's heads. I think you could put it on the Jedis. And then bounty hunters would actually hunt those people down. And if they killed them, you had to pay them and shit was sorted. I would love to see shit like that happen in World of Warcraft. Like, it doesn't matter if you die in World of Warcraft, but just the idea of having a bounty on your head and knowing that people are hunting for you could be very cool. What do you think is the best designed city in World of Warcraft? What do you think of the changes to Orgrimmar? What architectural change would you like to see happen to the game? Best designed city? Like, if we're talking about layout, I would say Stormwind City. I think the layout of that one is brilliant. You know, you got your own individual areas, not everything is hidden away. I had the hardest time with Ironforge and that big circle. I had the hardest time figuring out where exactly everything was. Don't get me started on Undercity, man. Undercity is such a clusterfuck. And Siege of Orgrimmar as well. You really need to know the city in order to know all the places. But I guess the same goes for Stormwind. What do I think of the change to Orgrimmar? I think it's good. I think it's always a good situation when you show the progression of a storyline in a city. Like, they revamped the city in order to show that things were going down. So I like that. I'm just also wondering why they can't do that for the Alliance. And you might say, oh, it's an Alliance bitching about it. And it's true. It's an Alliance player bitching about it. But I would love to see Dalaran actually moving to Fedamore. I would love to see Stormwind repaired again. I would love to see these little events happen instead of dumping a fucking statue of Wrathion in the city. But yeah. And then what architectural changes would you like to see happen in the game? I'm boring in that regard. I'm good with any new race. I would love to see more Goblin buildings though. I love the Goblin starting area. That city was so cool with the road and all the factories and shit. That was awesome. Other side of the planet, the rest could be a copy. The lore, Star Wars The Old Republic is fun and it only takes a week to go through. Civ Juggernaut was the best. Okay, cool. Can you lose some achievement points, please, Noble? Fury wants her #1 spot back. Did I take the #1 spot again? Let's see. Did I? Where did I put it on there? Oh, there. Achievement points. Duh. Oh, yeah. Cool. For those that don't know yet, by the way, I have moved once again, and hopefully this is going to be the final time. I've moved back to the server Tedokar AU, and I'm now part of Divine Intervention. Hang on. There we go. So if you see Noble the Noble of Divine Intervention, that's me. And if it changes again, which I hope not, then I'll let you know. What's the story of the Violet Hold from Wrath of the Lich King? Violet Hold, do you mean Dalaran? The prison within Dalaran. I believe during the Nexus War, in an attempt to weaken Dalaran, they sent a blue dragon to liberate the prisoners inside their prison. And if they would have broken out, then Dalaran would have had a huge problem. So we were sent in to make sure that they didn't escape. I think that was the story, but that's just from the top of my head, to be honest. Do you think WoW will soon release a new WoW with a new engine, since the current one is old and new game have opportunities in game that WoW does? No. I find the possibility of a WoW 2 very, very slim. Reasons for that: one, they already did it, they already dominated the market, and they already created the best MMORPG that we have. Well, I wouldn't say best, because best is, you know, everybody has their own taste. The most popular one, let's put it like that. I mean, they're in the fucking Hall of Fame with their game. So that's part of the reason. Second is that they're figuring out that games, like in current day and age, games like Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. Easy games where people drop a lot of money for virtual cards, for virtual skins, for virtual heroes. The time invested in those and the profit margin is just a lot higher than if you invest in a big-ass MMORPG in which you need a customer service, you need to do patches, you need to do expansions, you need to do all kinds of things. That's just a lot profitable. And in the end, Blizzard is still a business. So I don't see a WoW 2 coming. If anything, we'll see a Warcraft RTS and WoW shutting down. But again, I don't work for Blizzard. Who knows, there might be another MMORPG. Who knows? Who is Medan? Medan is the unholy child of Garona half Orcan and the Guardian Medivh. And in the story, Medan became the new Guardian. Christ, that's a scary gnome right there. He became the new Guardian, Medivh gave him his powers, he got a Tish, he saved the world from Cho'Gall and Cthulhu, and then he went away, apparently to study. And that's Medan. Did Black Hand hold the Doomhammer when we killed him? And where's the Doomhammer now? That's actually been asked at BlizzCon. In which there was like this kid, you know, it was fucking cool. Kid had like, we call it smink, I don't know what you call it. Face paint, I suppose, on his face. And like he asked the question like, who's gonna pick up the Doomhammer? And they were like, you are! To which the kid was looking at him like, are you for real? Just answer the fucking question. So they didn't really give a question of an answer to that one. So we don't know what happened to the Doomhammer. It vanished. Would be a nice change, blah blah blah. Do we truly know that Broxigar is dead, considering what happened to Ner'zhul? Well, Hidesmoker, in theory, anybody can be resurrected if they wanted to. But considering that he was impaled by a sword, it seems pretty likely that he died. But anybody can be brought back, sure, if they wanted to. Will the events of Warlords of Draenor influence the future of Azeroth? Do you think Grom has a place in the future events of WoW? Cyber Jesus, I hope not. I think Warlords of Draenor as its own thing, alternate realities and copies coming back, I think that was bad enough. But now it's flowing over into the overall storyline, and that's even worse. We know that Gul'dan isn't quite finished yet. He might be taken care of in the next patch. He might be part of the next content. But in picture this, right? You're gonna be fighting not Gul'dan. You're gonna be fighting alternate Gul'dan. And then you have Illidan, who had the skull of Gul'dan. Like, is he gonna go to the Tomb of Sargeras and find remainders of his alternate version's bones? You know? Alternates, realities, and time travel, it's complicated enough to tell it properly. And Blizzard hasn't done it really well. Unfortunately. Now to your question, will it influence the future of Azeroth? It's possible. For all we know, the events of Warlords of Draenor are going to be like Gul'dan goes to the Twisted Nether and comes back to Azeroth with a future Legion invasion. It's a possibility. But we don't really know, you know. Unfortunately, I can't predict the future. And pretty much anything's possible. Do I think that Grom has a place in the future events of WoW? Yeah, that falls under the same category of Durotan. You know, Thrall's story was beautiful because he was like this orphan orc that liberated himself out of the internment camps. And now his parents are back again. He's no longer an orphan. Like, how does that affect the storyline? I hope it's gonna have a minimal effect. But who knows? Time will tell. Yrel is Wrathion, confirmed. Howdy, Mangril. I'm hoping that when we get back to Azeroth when Warlords of Draenor is over, that things have pretty much been thrown into chaos and we don't even get 2 minutes to take a breather. Me too, Kill. And my personal hope is the Naga. Before we know, the Legion is already there, you know? We don't know. It's simple, we kill the Green Jesus. Uh-huh. What do you think will happen to alternate Azeroth now that the Horde stays on Draenor? And I guess now the Tailor is dead, Yrel will become the new Tailor. It's possible that Yrel becomes the new Tailor. Or, like I mentioned, I hope that all these alternates and duplicates just stay on Draenor and don't cross over. But we'll see. And what will happen to alternate Azeroth? Alternate Azeroth is pretty much doomed. As we see in the Caverns of Time, with no Horde invading, Azeroth wouldn't have a Thrall. And without a Thrall, there wouldn't be anybody to stand up against Deathwing and the Old Gods during the Cataclysm. So the cataclysm would happen out of twilight across the world, and everybody would die. That's just one scenario. You can, you know, bring it back and see at what point will the world die. Is it going to be during the Kafun fight, because there's no Horde to team up with? Is it going to be Medivh, still under the influence of Sargeras? There are a whole bunch of events that could take place that takes out the planet. In my opinion, if we're going to speculate, the planet is doomed. That's pretty much for sure. Who's your favorite female character? If you have one, and why? I like the storyline of Sylvanas. Like, I'm more into the story itself than what gender they have. But I think the storyline of Sylvanas is pretty cool. Jaina is freaking awesome. I loved how they did Jaina during Mr. Pandaria. I wished that the events of Tides of War were actually better portrayed in the game than just in the books. As a little side note, I was thinking about this the other day. I made the video in which I talked about things that I would love to see added to World of Warcraft. And I said that lore is pretty much solid. It's true, lore is pretty much solid. But I would also love it if Blizzard could stop putting legendary important moments in novels. I can understand that novels are a great tool to add storyline. They're a great tool to give depth to a storyline. But things like the destruction of Fedamore, Magni turned into a crystal. I'm still getting questions from people like, what happened to Magni? And what happened to Cairn? And how did Garrosh get to Draenor? Those events should be portrayed in-game that make sense to people. So my request would be that they just add less into the novels and more into the game. So yeah, Jaina, awesome, man. On that rant, the reason why I went on that rant is a lot of people said that Jaina was crazy during Mr. Pandaria, and it's absolutely not true. In my opinion. I think she's the most realistic character out of all of them. Who wouldn't want this mental affection that blew up your city and that betrayed your other city and, you know, that caused a whole bunch of wars? But there you go. What was that with Lord Kasich? That is the parallel universe Kasich, otherwise it makes no sense. According to the Dungeon Journal, Hide Smoke, we actually looked it up. If you look at Supreme Lord Kasich, it says Supreme Lord Kasich has emerged from the Twisted Nether once again. Could mean that he's our version, it could mean that he's just back and that's how they explain it. But yep. Ooh, I need to search. So is Thrall basically Last Guardian? Just not a mage? No, Thrall's not the Last Guardian. Thrall is like the creator. You know, he's like above it all. Green Jesus. Will we see more of Rexxar in this expansion? Who knows? I would love that. But who knows? Hard to say. I think Thrall turned from being potentially WoW's most interesting character to a monkey wrench for resolving or starting any plotlines. Unfortunately, really. Absolutely suck harem. Absolutely. If the dragon aspects lose their power and Malfurion is awake, who is watching over the Emerald Dream now? Or will there never be a threat in the Emerald Dream again? I believe that the druids with the green dragons are still watching over the Emerald Dream. Similar to how the Time Walker Order is working together with the bronze dragons to keep time in order. Like mortals are working together with dragons now. Which is kind of cool. I think that's the situation. What happened to the Warlord's reality Thrall? Baby Thrall. Baby Thrall was born on Azeroth, indeed. So he was born when the Horde already invaded Azeroth, so when they already were on the planet. Since that never happened, he isn't conceived yet. It might happen. Then we'll have 2 Thralls to bitch over. But for now, he's simply never born yet, never conceived. Garrosh is actually older than Thrall. Yep, that is true. Do you think we will receive any big content patch in the future of this expansion? Volvino Gamer, I get this question all the time. So thank you for asking it during the Q&A so we can get rid of it once and for all. I don't know. Simple truth. I don't know what Blizzard is or isn't going to do. We know for certain that there is going to be a patch that's going to add flying. Will there be more? We don't know. I certainly hope so. I hope that we'll get more story, more content. For all we know, it's the next patch is going to be introduction into the next expansion. But don't forget that we still have like 6 months to go till BlizzCon. And then either they release the new expansion of BlizzCon, which I find unlikely, or we go into the beta. So we would have 6 months plus of Hellfire Citadel. I hope not, man. I hope really that they're gonna add more, but time will tell. The blue dragon aspect's chosen thing was strange. Does all the flights have that type of ritual, and do they have the same stupid rules? That's really convenient for the story. It's convenient for the story. Like, oh, somebody lost their powers. Let's bring them back. On this one specific ritual that only happens once in a blue moon. Get it, blue moon? Yeah, it's a plot device, but that's, you know, it's not the first time that it happens. Have you read the ebooks Paragons, and is it any good? It's been sitting on my Kindle for months. Paragons is pretty much a collection of the free short stories that are online, so everybody can read them, with one exception, that is, what do you call it? Blood of the Highborn, I think it's called, which is a really, really cool story for Kil'Thas and the Blood Elves, which gives depth to the whole Troll Wars, it gives depth to Arthas attacking Quel'Thalas, the Naru being abused to wield the light. It gave a whole bunch of great details additional to the storyline that we already know. So for that one, it's pretty damn good. He ripped his heart out to become, so he made him good again? I think I missed the question there, sorry. Like a filler for unbalanced servers. Yep, it's another weird lore thing. What would you think of Race's quest to give racial abilities? I'm not sure if I'm a fan of racial abilities, to be honest. I would prefer it. Yeah, on the other hand, it does give a certain uniqueness. In the way that they are. Yeah, why not? Let's add more quests to it. But I think I would prefer class quests over racial ability quests. Oh boy. There we go. And welcome new subscribers, thank you very much. Why are you drinking out of a measuring cup? Because it holds more than my other cups. And Twin Dragon, I already did your question, eh? Missed the emote, awesome. Yo man, what's the difference between the Dark Below and Eye of Azora? Please keep the chat room in English, by the way. And nothing. In theory, it's just a name that they used. Now we know that the Dark Below has been used for some other game. So we know the Dark Below is no longer for Blizzard. But Eye of Azora, it's simply a name. The whole content thing is pretty much the same. How can you be a mod, Sakurimi? I'm not looking for any mods. Sometimes I give it out. It's completely random, man. I think Blessed we need to get more than one legendary. Yeah, but Blizzard says a lot of things, Bubble Boy. They say a lot of things these days. I know a few people that are speculating that Yrel and her sisters are the Eredar sisters in the Sunwell from Warlords of Draenor reality. What do you think? Could be. Yeah. It's not impossible. It's actually a very nice speculation right there. Yeah, I like that. Though you gotta wonder what event exactly changed to keep Yrel, you know, on this side. But, right. But yeah, it's a fun speculation for sure. Let me just clear up the raid group real quick. For those that would like to join, I am under the custom tab, Q&A with Noble. Just type in Noble and you should be able to find the group. And if you want, you can join the garrison for selfie or whatnot. So yeah. Do you have an idea when you will do the Ysera video? I'm really looking forward to it. No, I don't give any promises as to which and what video I'm gonna do. The other day on the stream I was talking about doing a gnome video, the Goblin Mechatork one, and then things came in between, and I thought about it. I could move to next week and then next week and then next week, you know, it kind of feels, it kind of depends on how I feel, like how we're gonna release it. So, no, I can't promise you. So, do kittens have a place in World of Warcraft lore? Have you not seen Nixium's video? Kittens play the best part in the Warcraft lore. Kittens are what keep our hearts pumping. And kittens keep us on the good side. They're little balls of fur that go brrrr. And after a long day of adventuring, you stroke the kitten, and you feel at peace. Many would have gone mad without the kitten power. So yes, kittens do have a part to play. How does resurrection work in the Warcraft universe? Little bit of a big subject, Anarchy, to answer in one Q&A. There are different ways of resurrecting. You got the Plague that just makes you mind the zombies. You got the Valkyr that creates a little bit of a better zombie with their own brain intact. You got just magical means. You got Lich King means. You got Ruin means. You got resurrection with the light, although those are pretty damn rare. The light just pretty much restores you as you were. There are all kinds of different ways that they can bring them back, you know. They can also stick a gem in their chest and they're good to go. All kinds of ways to be resurrected. Hey Double, since Fel corruption definitely doesn't have to be consensual willing, why the hell do you think Gul'dan didn't just fill him up with Fel energy? I thought maybe Gul'dan wanted to break Grom through the torture first, but surely Grom could be broken through corruption, stating Gul'dan's hubris and earning the Legion a powerful warrior. Seems like Bliss just left Grom untainted just to have him there for Draenor's free nonsense. True, but then again the whole Fel corruption thing, like the last line that you said, they just wanted Grom to be there so they could be like, look! It is Grommash Hellscream! He is our hero! We loved him! He was our favorite orc for the past, and now he's a hero again. Even though it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Regardless, don't forget that even though the orcs often give the blood as a reason, as an excuse for their crimes, it didn't make them completely mindless slaves. It gave them bloodlust. It really made them want to fight. But they have been turned several times. They've been turned back, and even when they were still under the bloodlust curse, they were able to remain sane and hold conversations and not give in. Especially Grommash Hellscream was one of those war chiefs that was really good at keeping the bloodlust down and not giving into it, as described within the novels. So you could say that Gul'dan could have forced down the demon blood down his throat and turned him green and give him incredible power. Could be, but it doesn't guarantee that Grommash would actually follow his orders. Ah, the Gecko Kid. Do you think if Grom does have an impact on the future of Azeroth, he will challenge Vol'jin as war chief? I'd love to see the Horde go under a civil war. Again? Again? I fucking hope not. Is there a 15-minute delay? No, I just haven't scrolled down the chat room. What if we go to a parallel Azeroth to save it? Would that make sense? Anything can make sense if Blizzard wants to do it. It's just that the beauty of Draenor, and I've mentioned this many times before, the beauty of Draenor is that we did not know that much about Draenor at the time, right? So Blizzard had a lot of liberty as to what creatures do we want to place, what kind of buildings, what kind of storyline. That's not the same for Azeroth in this time period. We pretty much know what happens on Azeroth during this time period. When I was making my speculation video on the possible storylines that they could use, I was actually thinking about adding a possibility of alternate Azeroth. Because it's not impossible, and they could use it to introduce the Warcraft movie that's coming up. But it's just, it brings its own complications. Jaina suffered massive losses. She's allowed to go a bit loopy, right? And welcome subscribers. So does this expansion with Archimonde being back alive show that each timeline has its own legion? And if so, couldn't all the legions from each timeline team up to conquer everything? They actually on the Twitter, and I made a video about this called Archimonde and the Nether tweet. They've confirmed on Twitter that the Legion is in the Twisting Nether. And the Twisting Nether is above reality. So Archimonde, his soul is anchored to the Nether. Which means that he can't die on either Outland or Draenor or Azeroth. He needs to die within the Twisting Nether. And when we defeated him in Mount Hyjal, he didn't die. He was just sent back up to the Twisting Nether. Now our Archimonde from that battle has come back to fight us again. So it's our Archimonde. So that means that there are not infinite amounts of legions. There is one legion, one Archimonde, one Kil'jaeden, and one Sargeras, I assume. Even though it doesn't apply to the Titans. It's a big mess. Congratulations, Ogre, on your victory. Jesus, dude. But yeah, there you go. Jaina and Sylvanas team up to take the world. Girl power, fuck yeah. Do you think we'll ever return to Northrend or Pandaria in future expansions? I don't think we've ever returned to an area to actually expansion there. Like the Greenfire questline sent us back, and there were other questlines that sent us back. But actually an expansion there? Nah, I don't think so. Not unless they revamp it. But still, you know, would we appreciate a Burning Crusade revamp? Would we appreciate the same, only it looks a little bit different? I don't know. What's the lore of the Laughing Skull and Rengari working together in Tanaan? Why is there Rengari scolding Rotgum, who's trashing the Draenei house with a bone? Working together, I think that's because the Laughing Skull clan works with Durotan and the Orcs, where the Rengari work with us. And of course, for the greater good, they work together. And why is there Rengari scolding Rotgum, who's trashing the Draenei house with a bone? Because he's trashing a Draenei house with a bone. How do you think Illyria and Thrall are going to be introduced? Like, what kind of situation? I think the expansion in which we go to the Twisted Nether. Because eventually we'll have to take care of the Legion. Eventually we'll have to kill Archimonde and kill Jaina once and for all. And we'll have to go back to the Twisted Nether, right? I think it would be great to have Illyria and Thrall show up in that situation in the Twisted Nether. Like, surprise, we went to fight the Legion. Let's team up now. But to be fair, Madsen has said, like, many times, like, you're gonna get Illyria and Thrall now, you're gonna need them for the next expansion. And it never happened. She's now part of the Hearthstone Hero set, which is cool. But yeah. Truth be told, I don't really care anymore if Illyria and Thrall is gonna return, you know. Do I care? I'm like thinking, do I really care? I don't. I mean, Thrall is a cool paladin, don't get me wrong. And Illyria is of course part of the Windrunner sisters, but it's been like, how long now? 15 years, 20 years that they actually did anything? Who cares? But you know, we'll see if they're ever gonna be introduced again. Are all the demons the same race, like from the same planet world, or are they corrupted races from all over the world, like the corrupted Eredar? I believe that there are multiple races from different worlds recruited into the Legion, yeah. There's apparently going to be a third PvP season, so I'm sure we're getting another patch. Yep, we're certain that there's going to be another patch, we just don't know what the content is going to be. I love beta, you can play the newest X-Packs for free with fun bugs before other scrubs can play it, right? Corrupted race, like the Satyrs and from the Night Elves. World of Warcraft, gender-specific abilities. What of that? Gender-specific abilities? No. No, I understand the feeling of wanting to identify yourself with something and wanting to see that gender reflected in the game. But on the other hand, it would divide a little bit. Like, if we're all if we're all going with the thought like we are the same, which in truth we are, then I don't think we should have different abilities for different genders, no. I wouldn't be behind that, no. But the actual demons, like Succubi and Felhunter and Voidlords, are they all from the Twisted Nether or are they corrupted? Voidlords are from the Void, Felhunter and Succubi are from maybe planets. I don't think they've ever explained the origin behind that. I wonder if Blizzard would add like a secret group for each faction where only a select few random players get invited and they do somewhat undercover investigation missions on other races. Would be cool if it's able to get pulled off. Yeah, but on the other hand, Biggie, keeping a secret these days with the internet and Wowhead and whatnot, not gonna happen. Which lore forum has had the biggest impact on you? Has it been consuming lore through gameplay, or was your biggest lore fan experience when reading books and short stories? For me, when I started getting interested in the lore was during Wrath of the Lich King. And by that time I already played during Classic and Burning Crusade. And it was the Wrathgate cinematic that got me interested. I started watching YouTube videos, mainly from Pride. It's like Lore for Noobs, which were short videos. And those were like fuel for the fire, which ended up reading Wowpedia. And having like 60 articles open at the same time and constantly devouring and putting the pieces together. Then later on I picked up the novels, I picked up Warcraft 3, and all of that just became a biggest mashup of all the lore. So I think for me the biggest impact was Wowpedia. I think I got my most information from there, but all these little things got me inspired and motivated to get further into it. You are not prepared. Can the Legion travel between dimensions? And if so, why didn't they just invade with a collection of corrupted Azeroth heroes? Because Blizzard hasn't designed that story yet. It makes absolutely no sense. Check out my video called the Archimonde tweet video, in which I exactly asked the same question. It makes little to no sense. I've had a lot of people come up with reasons and try to give an explanation to it. But it's up to Blizzard to actually, you know, create a situation that makes sense. Her sister dying, I suppose. Could be. People are gonna say Warlords of Draenor was the best expansion. I doubt it, Bubba Boy. A lot of people that are negative right now are gonna switch sides and they're gonna be nostalgic about it. But the best expansion ever? I don't know, man. It's the best raiding expansion, that's for sure. I've never enjoyed raiding as much as I enjoy it now. Just fought the Legion, blah blah blah, ratata. When will the next book or comic appear? I know you mentioned about it. November, there's gonna be the comics with a little bit about the origin of Azeroth lore. So yeah. Nice guild, right? Vodka or whiskey? Neither. But if I really had to choose, I'd go whiskey. What group are you in and how can I join? Again, keep the chat in English, please. I am in a group. Oh, sorry, my group was actually delisted. Apologies. It's under custom Q&A with Noble. And you should be automatically invited if you want in. If the other race of Azeroth used Fel magic, what side effect do you think it would be? Something green. Like the Blood Elves had green eyes, the Orcs had green skin. So humans are gonna have green mustaches. Gnomes are gonna have green ears. Like ear hair coming out of their ears. I have no idea, matey. I really don't, sorry. What do you think about the Time Walking Dungeons? If you could pick one to revisit because of his lore, which one would it be and why? Because of the lore? None of them, because I've already done the dungeons, so it doesn't really matter. But if I could choose one, I would go back to the Oculus. I love the Oculus so much. That was really one of my favorite dungeons back then. So I can't wait for Wrath of the Lich King to arrive and actually be part of the Time Walking event. So Oculus would be my favorite. And what do I think of Time Walking Dungeons? It kind of sucks that they made the requirement required for raiders to do it. Because, you know, nobody's gonna pass up on an extra loot roll. So that kind of sucks. Other than that, I kind of had fun tanking with the mother ducking Wind Fury. Was it called Wind Fury? I think so. My brain is melting, by the way. That's not a good sign. Thunder Fury, even. Wind Fury. Thunder Fury! So yeah, that was fun. It was fun to use the legendaries again. Let's just forget that Warcraft ever happened and pretend we're still doing Siege of Orgrimmar. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. As Blizzard had a bias towards the Horde, it seems the Alliance gets forgotten in terms of importance and influence towards expansion and events in lore. I think they have. I think that the Horde has been preferred several times. Key example has been 5.3, in which the Horde got the most epic storyline ever, and the Alliance got Mother King Robot Cat. Never forget Robot Cat 2013. Never forget. Truth be told, they have been trying to close that gap and make it a lot more fair. Because if you look at Warlords of Draenor, I rolled a Horde character specifically to give both sides of the storyline. And there are minor differences between characters. A couple of events here and there that are different. But overall the storyline is exactly the same. I think that's a better situation and people have less to complain about. But if you look at for example, yeah, like I said, the Siege of Orgrimmar event. And before that, you know, I can understand that people felt that way, especially after the Cataclysm, where you follow Wonderboy Thrall around as an Alliance player and you're like, what the frick? Following Thrall around. And the counter argument that people give is that you also follow Tyrion around. Which is true, it's a human. You know, there are two sides of the coin. I personally feel like Blizzard does favor the Horde in the sense of story. Not to mention the Siege of Orgrimmar, with Orgrimmar being revamped 3 times and Stormwind is still waiting for Get the Park repaired. Kinda sucks. And no Dalaran, you know, whatever. Have you seen a garrison? It's like a shantytown compared to this. Garrisons, I have to admit, Alliance has been favored with the garrisons in Warlords. I have to admit. Like the zone, look at that, look at the skybox, and look at my freaking town. And now compare it to what the Horde has. I have to admit, Garrison's alliance definitely got it better. I so called the one Legion thing months back novel. Yeah, but still doesn't make any sense, Ajax. Still doesn't make any sense. And I need to sit around my garrison because I'm out stamping alliance faces into the dirt, right? I wish... Really? Oh, it's a scooter. Never mind. I wish there were quests in that area regarding the Rangari refuge. Could be cool. The PvP servers get to my head sometimes. Right. I also get very competitive when it comes to... What the frick, dude? When it comes to Alliance versus Horde in PvP. But overall, I just don't care. I don't care. As long as I get the storyline. In your video of possible expansions, you talked about Illidan fighting demons in the Twisted Nether. Following this idea, if a demon can find another one on the Twisted Nether, it could be possible to have on a TN expansion a demon race. Yeah, sure, why not? Like a demon race that is disillusioned by the Legion and the Flex joins us, why not? How do you get the destroyer ship in the shipyard? Check out the Wowhead guide for the shipyard, man. There are like all the counters and how you create stuff like that. It's all there. What's the lore of the Oculus? That's a very good question. What is the lore of the Oculus? It had something to do with killing dragons. Probably the Nexus War that is part of it. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I like the dungeon, but I don't know the lore of the Oculus. In order to re-establish his dominance over magic, the Blue Dragon aspect Malygos has launched a ruthless campaign to sever the link between the mortals and the arcane energies coursing through Azeroth. To this end, his Blue Dragon flight is redirecting the ley lines of the world to the Nexus, Malygos' towering lair. Yeah, I know this. So why are we going into the Oculus? Just so that we can take care of it? Probably just to take care of it so that we can actually get to Malygos. Probably. Do we know how many old gods exist? And is Sargeras, I think I misspelled it, really dead? Oh boy. Ooh, I need to stretch. There are 5 evil gods chained beneath the world. That's from the origin of Azeroth, I think, where the Titans came down, they shaped the land, and they kicked some Titan butt. But that number has been changed many times before. Do we know them? We know about Kafun, Yaxaron, Sargeras, and Zoth. So there's still one certified unnamed old god, and then it's whatever Blizzard wants to event. Did we kill Sargeras? Yes. The whole storyline behind the old gods is why they couldn't kill them, is if the Titans smacked the old gods and killed them, the world of Azeroth would be destroyed. During Mr. Pandaria, we saw exactly the effect of smacking the crap out of an old god. You saw the land infected with the Shah. Now imagine that happening all over the planet. It would become uninhabitable, and I believe that that's the reason why they couldn't kill the old god. So they tried to do it with Sargeras, didn't work out, imprisoned him, and decided to imprison the rest of the old gods. This is my speculation though. Regardless, Garrosh got the heart, he dumped it in the water, reinvigorated it, absorbed the powers, we kicked the crap out of Garrosh, we kicked the Sargeras out of him, and now Sargeras is truly gone. Yeah. Can we get one openly non-hetero main character? That would be the best. Have you seen my story of Marcus? Bring Marcus into the storyline, man. Marcus for president! I would love to see Marcus added. That guy is just fucking awesome. Let's see. Excuse me. Why did Azeroth travel all the way to Draenor to destroy the Dark Portal? Why couldn't they just destroy the portals that are placed into Azeroth before the entire campaign? A plot hole perhaps? Well, perhaps, but on the other hand you could also say that we didn't want the Iron Horde to take care of the Draenei and then come back again. We wanted to make sure that they didn't cause trouble like this again, a la Beyond the Dark Portal. So there was a reason why going through it, but I can understand people that respond like, why did we just blow up the portal? You know, they couldn't set 5 steps into Azeroth before getting their asses kicked. What's the big deal? I understand that feedback, but that's pretty much the storyline they wanted to tell. My favorite moment for Warlord so far, that's either Yrel with a Dura 10 against Blackhand, or the Thrall Garrosh cinematic. Those two were so fucking cool. Nizaf is the best old god, hoping to see him in a Naga expansion. Yup. Did a Blitz hint at Illidan coming back? Would you rather see him this expansion or Azora? Do you agree he should get all manly, bitch slap Malfurion, club Tyrande around the head and drag her back to his lair so he can have some story? I just see Caveman Illidan, like, swagging around with a little club. Yo, bonk! You come back to my lair now. When do I want to see Illidan return? I would love to see him in the Twisted Nether expansion. Doesn't matter if that's the next one or the one after that. But Illidan has been hinted at, and there are definitely ways of bringing him back. If you want more details on that, I highly recommend my story of Illidan, especially part 3, where I speculate about that. What I would love to see Illidan do is come back and realize that Tyrande is no good to him. That trying to help out people is no good. Just screw the world, dude. Do your own plan. Fuck your brother. Fuck your brother's wife. Fuck all of y'all. I'm gonna do my own thing. Excuse me for my language, YouTube. And then he goes up to Maiev. Like, Maiev is his buddy. The hunter is nothing without the hunt. And they become close. And then together they start ruling the world. You can drag Sylvanas in there. Jaina in there. Valera and Thrall and everybody in there. And they're gonna dominate the world. Something like that. At least I would love to see him disconnect those ties to Tyrande. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say here. Because Tyrande is no good for Illidan. No good. If you use a toy to transform in Gammon or Millhouse or Moon and use the red vial of goo, you will become tiny as fuck. Cool. Nizaf is definitely the best done out of all of them. Medivh versus Agewin. Who would win? Medivh. Because Medivh has fought with his mother. Although she had transferred her powers by then. I would still say Medivh. Come on, Croft, Sargeras, all that knowledge. Yeah. You will answer my question. I already answered your question, matey. Whiskey. Get to bed, no supper. How long do we have left, by the way? 3 more minutes, everybody. 3 more minutes. Does your Battle.net say that the eternal conflict has started on Heroes of the Storm? I should have to check, man. I don't know. I do not know, and I'm not in the position to check right now. It could be that they added the new map to the beta or something. Could be. I like to see Grom shake things up. Experienced leader and Orc War Chief versus a neutral War Chief. She is amazing. Let Malfurion get captured. Bet he'll do nothing as usual. Still mad about him watching Horde group kill his girlfriend, right? Hush the Rond. Wow, was up. Awesome. And then Green Jesus bet them all up. What are you gonna do after this? I'm not sure, Bubble Boy. Oh, first of all, I'm gonna take a minor break because I'm overheating here, and then I'm gonna chillax. I could solo a few Catarates. I really want to farm some gold. For those who've been asking me, like, how can I easily gear up? Go to Astran and find the Order of the Awakened. Drop some gold there, and you can buy, like, sweet gear. It just costs a lot of gold. So, yeah. Romance options with followers. Did I miss that too, or did you skip that question too? I skipped that question because I'm not sure what the question is. Like, is it a suggestion to get romantic with your followers? Like a dating sim? Like you bring them presents? Didn't they do that with the Tillers in Mist of Pandaria? That you could bring them gifts and they would like you and become your friends? I mean, there are a few followers that are actually members from the community. Like if I could take Noxie and date Noxie, I would do it. If you don't know Noxie, by the way, Noxie is she's a WoW artist. She makes like BlizzCon badges and WoW had art in the past, and she's worked for a new website. She's beautiful art. So yeah, in that regard, yes please.